punish the Hecarim over time. That's the final call that's made by SKT. You can definitely say it's a lot of CC synergy to come over with the Kai'Sa come team fights. I kind of take your point, though. It's going to be very interesting to see if they can baby this Kayn through the early laning phase, because definitely in top, you're going to like things. The flexes will continue, but Ryze support, that's a bit much.
Yeah, definitely is. Not going to be tricked by that one.
Come on, he's got a root.
Yeah, okay.
Lane, for instance,
Take a deep breath there, Captain Flowers. I'm going to ask you to calm down. But, you know, I'm so excited to see if they are going to be able to do it. I tend to think it's going to be very difficult because Kennen is such a preferential matchup over the Hecarim. They have a very powerful bottom lane as well. There are areas which Clid can attack. You tend to favor SKT in both the 2v2s and 3v3s oftentimes as well. So, you know, Meliodas is going to have to play very carefully to get through the early stages.
He's going to have to play carefully, but he'll also have to play aggressively enough to make sure he transforms in time. Remember, base Kayn, not a very threatening champion. You really come online once you get that evolution, most likely going for the red form because it is traditionally the more powerful one, and especially against this composition, Blue's not going to find too many targets, and that means early scraps, finding that damage, getting those orbs, because if he can't do it, those fights, those are already in favor of SKT, could quickly go even more so towards that side.
Great segment from Dracos explaining those same points in even more depth, Captain Flowers, during Countdown today. So all about the Kayn, as it always is.
On to Summoner's Rift, the final time of the day here. Taking a look at the runes picked up by both sides. You can tell I already was 99% sure it was going to be Red Kayn. Now I'm 100% sure because he has the Conqueror. That's not going to do much for Blue Kayn because you're looking to just snapshot somebody, so that's obviously where he's going to be looking to go. Conqueror for Hecarim, pretty standard stuff for him, but one important thing to note, it is the Ignite teleport version of top Hecarim that we used to see so often, but it means you're a very vulnerable gank target with no flash.
Yeah, you certainly are, and Clid going Electrocute is going to give him more early ganking power than that of the Conqueror, which is more suited to those long extended fights. In the 2v2s, that initial burst from the Electrocute can be so important.
But I'm so excited to see how does Clid set up, because almost every game he's played, he said, this is my lane, and I'm sticking to it. I'm going there again and again and trying to create a mismatch in victories and defeats. And we ruminated on how this is actually SKT heavily attacking bot side with the Galio Lucian that loves jungle backup. Not quite as flexible as Kalista to jump in and jump out for all trades, usually just hard commits. The reason why I bring this up is if you're trying to counter gank bot lane, if you do set up a start there, obviously base Kayn is going to be awful, provides almost nothing in a counter gank scenario if it ends up being bot lane focused. However, to Captain Flowers' point, the Ignite Hecarim can work with top lane focus, even given that it's a Kennen. So there's actually a lot of different ways this early game can play out, and that could shape the great part of the mid game.
And Meliodas is always the guy to watch for Fongfu Buffalo, right? This is the one who can get them really rolling. This is the guy that they felt like not their full selves when he was out because he had to be replaced for a moment, but now that he's back, the team has been able to find that one win. We'll see what they can do against SKT as you can see Meliodas farming up that Krug camp.
We're going straight bottom lane, Captain Flowers.
Bottom lane, we'll see if this level 2 gank from Clid can work. He moves through the lane into the brush and really wants to get things going here nice and early. Mata walking up into the brush, making sure Pallet has to stand far back enough that he can't sneak through the brush and ward that forward one on SKT's side.
Yeah, and credit to PVB. They're playing this safe. They're sitting back. This was a lot of time invested actually here by Clid. He went red straight to bot, then waited in that brush. This is now 3 camps to the 1 on the side of Meliodas, and he is looking like he wants to perhaps play around mid to start charging up that red form. You have to be attacking those melee champions, which leads you to believe Faker may be where he's going.
And as Meliodas finds all these camps, one thing you have to remember about Kayn, the champion is exceptional at farming, especially chicken camps. #1 chicken farmer in League of Legends. You can see just W plus Q nearly kills all the small ones, picks up the large one immediately after.
And if we can call out the scenario where every bot side 3v3 is lopsided to SKT, PVB should as well. If they had died to the gank, it should have been an expected one. In this case, they trade up, they power farm the Raptors like you mentioned, and right now Meliodas has a very nice level lead and definitely gold lead over Clid.
He'll farm up that Scuttle Crab there in the top side river. You can see right now the stakes of what's on the line here as SKT will secure a spot in the knockout stage if they win this game. Fongvu Buffalo, plenty of work to do if they still want to fight for that themselves. As we're going to see a replay of a cannon minion.
He got it!
Unfortunate there. So Khan making an unlucky flash forward, not much.
The utmost of asserting dominance.
Exactly.
I don't need this flash here.
Well, that's one way to look at it, I suppose, but Khan will not have that summoner spell now, which means it could be a much easier gank for Meliodas if Khan stays this far extended.
He did it very conspicuously, so I hope it was with his chest out. We know that Khan can be a trash talker.
Zeros doesn't have flash. He's Ignite TP. It's only fair, you know.
Look, we're casters. We're going to have to go with Occam's Razor. It's a whoopsie. It's definitely a whoopsie from Khan, and it's something that can be exploited. Remember, Ignite Hecarim starts to push back in. There's no flash. There's only the Lightning Rush to escape.
But they are looking like they want to set up this dive. Zeros has been harassed down, and they may go for it.
Conqueror Hecarim with the Spirit of Dread heals up a lot over time, but if you kill him instantly, he's not that tanky. Clid looking to make sure he secures that CC combo, and there you go. First blood to SKT.
Really impressive for SKT to wait as long as they did. They waited for the end of the charge bot lane, though.
They're not going to be waiting much longer here on the bottom side. Big Koro getting himself away as Palad's going to hold off Teddy and Mata, but that's 3 summoner spells from the side of PVB expended there in trade for 2 from Mata.
Yeah, SKT trading up on both sides. Meliodas making his way down here. We'll see if they can punish.
Heal used there by Teddy to start things off. Mata still channeling the taunt, looking to find someone. Won't be getting it. Khan makes his way into the bottom lane now, but won't find a whole lot.
Still a great gank from Meliodas, forcing that out will mean Zeros has more time to try to catch up. He can push in this wave, reset once more, and reduce some of that deficit that he was put into, because that experience he lost was so critical in the 1v1, and now that really has been evened out.
He's going for a roam as well, just walking around, removing a plant, getting the sort of space that you never get in a range versus melee matchup as the Hecarim. So it's going to find him, but not going to be taking any aggressive EQs.
Yeah, and look at the inventory of Clid as well. You can see the longsword being picked up early on. This indicates to me the Warrior Jarvan as opposed to the Cinderhulk that you frequently see, coupled with the Electrocute that was already mentioned. This means really, really powerful ganks, especially once he gets one more level and Cataclysm comes online.
And also in terms of the Kayn interaction, he doesn't want to play into the heavy expectation of Ras that's kind of confirmed, like you mentioned, Flowers, with the Conqueror, and just be a heal bot, just be a sack of meat that you can and get a huge heal during a team fight. So he just goes for the longsword, and it gives him a bit more early game oomph.
They'll clear out this bottom side Scuttlecrab, maintain control over that one, provide a little bit of extra support for the bottom lane as well, as we've seen how aggressive Teddy and Mata like to be. Extra vision in the river will always help make sure those plays can happen.
Yeah, and we can see Meliodas taking away another set of those chickens. You know, he's out to a pretty strong early game as far as the farm does go. This is actually his first base at 6:30 into the game. We'll see what buy he has, but definitely power farming very heavily. He wants to be getting up to that level 6 stage, but he also does need his transformation, and he has not really been fighting very much on this map, which leads me to believe he's going to be very far away from getting it.
And an important thing to mention about the blue smite specifically for Kayn, you do see the champion often go for a red smite when he's going red form because it helps you become such an incredible duelist, but blue smite gives you this bonus advantage of always being able to use your ultimate. Speaking of ultimates, in the mid lane, Faker's going to make this one happen on to Null, continuing to go deep underneath the turret as Clid stands by to soak the shots and make sure he's in no danger. SKT making a 2-kill game.
Both their turret dives have been very good. We were cut off discussing how on the top side they waited out the charge from the Hecarim and then went for it because, of course, couldn't take those extra turret shots, didn't have the flash on the cannon. In the mid lane as well, damage output is known. They get out safely, and top side Clid, his job's not done.
Yeah, Zeros with the wave, pushing to his opponent. They're going in.
Zeros is stunned up. There comes your Wombo combo, and the Cataclysm is down. No way for the horse to escape.
That was just awful from Zeros. That is such an obvious gank. As soon as the ultimate comes out from Khan, you need to immediately drop your ult in retreat and just count yourself lucky that you survive. Instead, waiting far too long there, not only does he expend his ultimate, he gives over the kill.
Seemed to have some sort of hope that it was just Khan trying to push in the minion wave and harass, but very quick confirmation and no chance to be ultra reactive, and only a blue buff can come back from it. We're going to watch the two-phase. Remember, this is twofold from Clint. Comes mid lane, a lot of jungles pull out here, goes in, gets the electrocute damage, and those long swords were important.
Yeah, and you'll notice he was tanking those turret shots for Faker to be able to go forward, making sure there was no chance of that dive going wrong. And you know, Zeros being held down pretty heavily here. You need that Triforce so much on the Hecarim, and he is such a long, long way away from working on it.
Meliodas is farming chickens. Clid's farming champions, making sure he's been involved on all these kills so far. And the top lane has already evolved into an over 1,000 gold lead for Khan's Kinnan. You think Kinnan's a lane bully normally. Give him that kind of an advantage, and he is just going to start taking your lunch money.
With only a turret plate and 2 assists, feels like he's been pretty lucky on the sacks of gold, I'm going to say. That feels like a really big lead for what it looks like in terms of the CS numbers. Khan will definitely take it, of course. Thing is, it's so hard for PVB to swing this game because their jungler doesn't really add much when he shows up. You kind of want Hecarim to be TPing in, and Hecarim's got his own problems. So right now, SKT can kind of be fearless in the face of the enemy.
Yeah, and this is some of the concern that I kind of had from PVB when we talked about what sort of a game we wanted to see them play. It was chaotic, it was aggressive, it was nonstop action from the start. Kayn is trying to avoid everyone in power farm. The Hecarim is so far behind the curve, and it feels hard to think, you know, at what time is this Kayn actually going to be online? You know, Rost is still such a far way off that by the time he's actually going, is he even really relevant anymore?
Faker trying to get the stun there onto Null. You can almost guarantee that Klid's coming in with his own follow-up if that lands, but Null just barely gets out of the hitbox of it. He'll continue farming up here in the mid lane on the rise. Does have a very slight CS advantage over his opponent. Meliodas spotted out there by a control ward, as Null gets himself stunned, but he has Pallet nearby in case SKT looks to make another play with it. Klid coming around from the side, walks over a control ward, but is not going to be dissuaded. Null immediately jumped on, as here comes the heroic entrance from the Galio. The follow-up CC is down. Null's going to be taken out. Manta secures the kill as Pallet has to flash away. More damage coming through, goes into the stopwatch to dodge the Vanguard's edge, but more damage is on its way in. PVB have already lost 2. It may be 3. The taunt onto Meliodas will seal the deal. They will lose Mata in return, but SKT go 3 for 1.
Yeah, and SKT just too ready for that play, despite the fact that Pallet had roamed. Mata knew it was happening. He's in position for the counter gank there with the hero's entrance, and SKT make it look easy. And on the side, Teddy was winning the duel against Big Koro. That was almost a 4th kill going the way of SKT.
And Klid is their decisiveness factor. He doesn't care that he's in a control ward. It's not an EQ range. He knows that with Galio backing him up, Jarvan and Galio do what it always says on the tin and make the play work. I was impressed with the mechanics to immune the ultimate there, but sadly, it's just a bit of gold, so just a bit of flash. They still pick up all the kills in the back end. It's becoming a very one-sided game at 11 minutes.
The small silver lining on the cloud is Meliodas finding himself a kill in return onto Mata there. Of course, because he's also involved in a fight, it will get him closer towards that transformation. But still not having it means he's still not where he needs to be. As you can see, Faker putting down some vision there in the river. SKT knows how far ahead they are in this game so far. Look at this bottom jungle on the side of Fongbu Buffalo. You can see Klid and Mata moving up, sitting down control wards as well as those regular vision wards, making it so if anybody's moving around in the Fongbu Buffalo side, they're aware of when and where they're doing it.
And those are turret diving wards, Captain Flowers. The Warrior Jarvan wants to go and make some more aggressive plays, going the longest route possible, and he'll take a Kayn if he finds one.
And I want to bring up the point that you mentioned about the Hecarim needing the Trinity Force, because you can see Faker Zyrelia already having his Trinity Force ready to go as Hecarim has a Ruby Crystal. Not exactly comparable between the two itemization sets, especially considering the Hecarim had to rush the completed Mercury Treads to try to keep himself safe against the Kinnan. Faker's going to continue flashing and dashing here around the mid lane as Mata's going in that bottom side jungle. They don't even need to dive the turret. Fongbu Buffalo's coming straight to them. Big Koro tries to dash his way out with a killer instinct. Combine it with the flash and he'll be okay. But now they're trying to counterattack it. Zeros into the middle of 4. He's not going to be surviving too much longer, and Teddy will take the kill. It's 2-0 for SKT so far. Faker wants to make it 3. Pallet stunned up underneath the tier 2, and he is not long for this world. SKT is running over the Buffalo.
Yeah, PVB feeling they needed to make a punch back there, trying to get something, but Meliodas is already down. Big Koro already was getting pushed backwards, and as Zeros TP's in, as you pointed out, yes, he had a base to buy the Sheen and the other longsword, but he is so far away from being relevant in this game, and SKT know it and can run the map.
But people screaming for a killer instinct from SKT should watch replays like this. They're way deep. They're fighting near the inner turret at only about 13 minutes into the game. Even the TPs, like you say, the oomph behind it's not there. Great stasis coming through from Teddy. Big Koro can't even get access into the fight.
Yeah, I mean, Big Koro had no sums at that point, had already blown the ults. There's no way he could follow up, even if it was a more powerful Hecarim, and SKT are absolutely running over this game. Turret plates are not even down.
And this is a good contrast to what we saw last game when we saw Invictus Gaming fall behind and say, hey, this is a team that knows how to minimize losses, not overcommit to a fight that has already left their court. Fongbu Buffalo do overcommit. The teleport from the Hecarim. Big Koro and Pallet sticking around way too long, and it just means that a small loss becomes a big one. And they're now in a spot where they're down 5,500 gold, 13 minutes in. Pallet now could be in some trouble, taking some damage. Tries to return some onto Khan here, but Faker's made his way into the fight. It's going to be 2 versus 3, but SKT are not even afraid. Ignite used, but Pallet will not be dropped. So if you're Fongbu Buffalo, you got to worry about how bad that fight looks with a man advantage.
I mean, it's still a base Kayn. He still hasn't even gotten the upgrade at 14 minutes in, so Meliodas, still not really online. And when you give a jungler like Clit so much room to work, you are seeing what the game can look like.
Monta going to be engaged on here on the bottom side. Pallet looking to make this one happen. Khan going to be taken low now as well. Meliodas trying to do something. He's going to be stunned up underneath the turret. Big Koro the one to fall. Zero's coming in, looking to grab some damage onto Khan, who goes into the stopwatch, keeping himself alive, trying to find a return kill here. It's Meliodas who gets away from the turret shot, and that's Fongbu Buffalo getting themselves a 2-for-1 in the bottom side. But at what cost? Faker's pushing up with the Rift Herald here in the mid lane. He's got Clid and Teddy at his sides, and they'll take down the tier 2.
Absolutely no answer to this. Plenty of AD on this Jarvan to keep the push going. Should be able to interrupt the final charge.
And they got the Ross. Finally, the transform does come through there from Meliodas just before 15, but a nice hook onto Teddy.
Pallet trying to make this one happen. Teddy very low on mana here as Null makes his way into the fight. Teddy's going to be taken very low. Kept alive now by Monta, and what a save! That's the heroic entrance. That's what it's made for.
That one hurts so much for PVB. Teddy so low, no flash. You have to think, great, we finally got a free pick. We finally are going to get some control. Instead, SKT answers, Teddy survives, and they take the dragon.
When even the lazy recalls and flashing in the face of your enemy under no pressure can't be inroads, then sadly, this game seems to be passing PVB by. SKT trying that aggression, being able to do it in style, and now PVB just trying to outnumber and find what kills they can.
Meliodas tries to go for a flash into a knockup with the Blade's reach, but unfortunately the reach isn't quite long enough. Khan's gonna get himself away as Big Koro gets himself solo killed in the top lane. Teddy makes sure of it.
Yeah, Teddy nicely played there for him, but on the side of PVB, you know how behind you are. They have to take risky plays. They have to look for these sort of picks. They are just not working out, and it is putting SKT even further ahead. But honestly, from this disadvantage, you can't sit back.
But from the very early game when Kayn got not much of a start, we kind of laid it out there that PVB can't really fight back until a point. The jury's out on whether that point will ever be reached. The reason why I want to visit that is the other side is SKT have a lot of advantages they can push, and to their credit, they have. This has been a game a bit different to the previous 7 from SKT. Is it the opposition? Is it just a once-off? We can't know today, but we were focusing on whether SKT could show gameplay traits that would serve them well coming into taller opposition as the tournament goes on, and from that side, you give it a pass mark.
You certainly do, and now for me, the report card becomes how quickly can you close out this game?
Right.
Can you have that killer instinct to take the early Baron, to use that to close a game? Or will it be more of the standard SKT style? Take a Baron, get some more turrets, reset and play it out slow.
PVB trying to start the fight here onto Khan, who has completed the Zhonya's Hourglass first item, which means he'll have that stasis ready to go every 90 seconds. And you can see the gold difference on your screen right now, descending into the 8K territory for the side of SKT, and Zeros gets himself dunked. There is no way out of that one.
That's the gray screen territory coming through for the Hecarim. They want this outer turret and continue the snowball that has already been on. By 20 minutes, 10,000 gold lead should be almost an inevitability. Teddy continues to power up, so do SKT.
Yeah, and it's these kind of games that for a top laner, for a damage dealer like the Hecarim, feels so bad because you're so far behind the curve as far as damage, you cannot threaten anyone. And likewise, you don't have enough survivability to live through any of these fights, and it's so hard to feel like you have any relevance at any point in this game.
I mean, that's the double-edged sword of a carry top laner. If you get ahead, you are the fear of God in your opponents running into the team fights with the teleport. If you're behind, you're just wishing you picked a meatball the entire time, so at least you had some CC.
And it's why we focus on the big 5 flex picks, and we don't really include the jungle top flex pick Hecarim. Now, that wasn't even leveraged this game. They were taken in the same round of the drop on the blue side in the second round, but Hecarim's matchups can quickly turn away, and this was even after the early mistake from Khan. Very comfortable for the Ken.
Yeah, certainly the case. The one flex pick that I'm wondering if it should be added to the pool whatsoever is the Nico, which has been popping up more and more.
And Vladimir for some teams.
Certainly, and the Nico, you know, has had mixed success, but certainly does seem perhaps more promising.
Well, what's not promising right now is the outlook on this game for Fong Vu Buffalo. 8,500 gold down, not even 20 minutes into the game. Baker continuing to push up here on the bottom side, going after Big Koro. Lots of Buffalo members nearby. However, SKT is also coming down for the collapse. PVB smells it, and they get the hell out of town.
Map state here for SKT. Pretty dominant. Baron hasn't spawned, so we can't be talking about any misfires around that objective, but it's been a while since PVB have been able to explore that vision. So looking over some of the map states here and drawing a line.
The line of vision for SKT.
You'd hate to see.
Yeah, that's very accurate line this time.
That's essentially none of your camps are available to you, and that is the line that has been put in place by SKT.
And that is the dream line of any team when you're on the winning side, because it says you're getting the minions or monsters we decide you can have.
SKT in full control here, and with Baron spawning in 10 seconds, with that next Ocean spawning here in a little bit over 30, you can bet that neutral objectives will continue to be the focus for them as they control the entirety of Summoner's Rift. I do want to see how fast they go for the Baron this time around. They don't have the Azir plus Kalista combo from last time in terms of the raw Baron shredding damage, but they're still so far ahead. They've still got so many items. You can see Lucian having the Blade of the Ruined King plus Essence Reaver in inventory. He will do plenty of damage to that. It's very easy to take it down. And when you compare it across the board, a Stormrazor plus the pieces of the next item for Big Koro, it's just not a comparison.
I believe you have the 2 evolves, but you have nothing else. You're very much just at the minimum there. But at level 10, you might not even have the 2 evolves. It lets you know that right now, still very much in the building block stage, and with that Baron, that's probably just the game end.
10% shy of the Supercharger evolve for Big Koro means he can't even have that stealth in the middle of the next fight. Khan and Zeros going 1 versus 1 here in the bottom lane. Zeros down a level up against Khan, and even if he tries to go for the all-in, he's still got to deal with the fact that there is that stasis.
Yeah, and he does have the Triforce, but unfortunately for him, you know, he's been so outpaced. When you look across the board at someone like Faker, he's on Triforce plus the Sterix already completed, and you know, when the survivability, the luxury items start to come through for these members, it becomes harder and harder to take them down. There's Zhonya's, parts of a GA already there for Clid. There's the Sterix, likely a PD could be coming through as well here for Teddy, and you just won't be able to press that mark.
And sometimes the items tell a story, and obviously you can say this one has more, that means they're going to win team fights, but the one that I actually want to talk about is both the Warrior Jarvan and the fact that it was a Zhonya's rush, very early Zhonya's from Kennen. It tells you we're fighting and we're brawling early. We're not going for Proto Belt, for lane control. They were with the mind of diving both the Hecarim and around the map, and it lets you show that they were jamming the accelerator based on their item choice.
And I think they're going to continue that, with Clid actually going back, you know, finishing the GA instead of trying to go to that Black Cleaver. That tells me you are looking for the one-punch fight, but PVB trying to catch Faker out.
Null makes the Realm Warp in there. Baron has been angered, so he's going to be putting some damage into these guys, but Meliodas now taking some of his own. Realizes it's probably time to retreat. Clid moves forward. Faker's not forced to even use the flash. SKT will expend the teleport there from Khan, making sure he's ready for the fight if it breaks out. Clid continuing to pressure forward. Throw down the flag, get himself over the wall, just in case somebody's sticking around. He's ready for that punish.
But from this far behind, 10,000 gold, forcing a teleport on your side is actually a win for PvP. So that's a good move from them. They couldn't turn it anything. Hecarim going to be hitting on this outer bot lane turret. So it's just a straight up win from PvP. And now SKT, as you do when you're from ahead, you try to turn it into something.
SKT are saying, we've got a 10,000 gold lead. You may have gotten a tier 1 turret, but now we dare you to challenge us on this real objective.
He's got no wards to even TP on.
Control ward already down on top of the scuttle crab there to make sure SKT are aware of any wards that might be around to the side of Fongbu Buffalo. TP now being channeled by Zeros. He wants to make sure he's able to make it into the fight as it starts. Meliodas looking to find the knockup, won't be able to find anything. Big Coral under threat. Khan looking to go into the back line. Meliodas already expending the Khan, already expending the Kane ultimate. Is not going to be in a good spot. Vanguard's edge onto 2. Big Coral going to be in some trouble. Killer Instinct barely keeping him alive, but only for a moment. Null is now the target, and he will be torn to pieces. SKT find 3.
But only just, Captain Faz. They needed every bit of that 10,000 gold lead because they were trying to do this game in fast mode. They were skipping steps because they could, and that's what the best teams do. They understand when they're ahead, they overforce, but there should be big reward.
The reward is the Baron. 16-3 now for SKT. 11,500 gold up. They didn't even lose the Guardian Angel on their Jarvan. And let's take one more look at how it happened.
Yeah, here it is one more time. SKT do not go for the 50-50. They turn for the fight, and Khan shoving members out, but you can see Clit down very low. Khan chunked low as well, but it is up to the carries, Petty and Faker here, to really make things happen.
Yeah, towards the back end, they're able to just get in there, use their flashes, and get the cleanup kills. The Baron's the primary objective. They'll take it. So while PVB able to get a little win and get that first teleport, the end result is Baron.
And now is when we get to answer the question posed earlier. Can SKT go for the jugular? You have a 12,000 gold lead. You have Baron ready to go, and you have everybody alive looking to push. How soon can you pop that Nexus? Right now, they're going to pop 2 members of Fongbu Buffalo. Null's got no way out. Meliodas will look to buy some time. Khan uses the stasis to keep himself alive. The red smite tick will not be enough. Zeros is farming the top lane. He has no TP, and SKT will march it down bot.
Yeah, I think they should be able to end right now with Zero still in the top lane with 2 members already down on the side of PVB. SKT could try to push in here for the win.
SKT in 2 lanes at once. Khan making his way down to join up with the team. He did go back to heal up after nearly dying in the bottom lane fight, but 2 inhibs already in the dirt means things have gone from bad to worse for Fongbu Buffalo. They say, hey, there's no reason to continue fighting here. We're not going to end right now. Regroup, push up again as a group, and then end the game there. Khan in the 1 versus 1 against Zeros, able to take him down very low, but not quite finding a kill until he comes back in with the Proto Belt for the 1v1.
Definitely playing with his food on both sides there, but Zeros doesn't have the items to pull that off. The ults have been late defensively, which makes you wonder about the Hecarim pick that, as we mentioned, was not a flex pick. Last time we saw SKT first Baron, didn't break the base. We commented on how it was a pretty shallow lead, I believe an inner turret. The only thing they added, this time 2 inhibitors to SKT.
And you can see SKT now grouping up for the split push yet again. It's Faker in the mid lane to make sure the super minions that already exist are going to be enchanted with the Baron buff, while Clid, Mata, and Teddy march down top and look for that last lane of standing turrets. Realm Warp's not going to accomplish much of anything, but now that it's down, SKT are aware that that repositioning tool is no longer on the table. Tier 2 turret under siege, but it won't be for long. It'll be dropped almost immediately. Faker will be buying some time here in the mid lane. Now turning it right back onto the side of Fongbu Buffalo. Null just can't find any luck in these fights, and Meliodas will join him shortly. Clid continues the fight into the bottom side, onto Zeros and Pallet. Zeros gets away, Pallet will not, and SKT will clean this one up quick. 26 minutes in, 1v5 for Zeros isn't going to do much of anything. You wanted a swift win, there you go. SKT take it home.
We posed the question, and SKT provided the answers here. A very dominant